Hi, good morning. Yesterday we have discussed in e-waybill special situations where e-waybill needs to be issued even if the value of the consignment is less than 50,000. That means even the value of the goods less than 50,000, e-waybill is required to be generated if the goods are sent by the principal to the job worker. That means if the principal is located in one state and the job worker is located in another state, then the e-waybill shall be generated by the principal or the job worker if he is registered. That means if the value exceeds 50,000 only, e-waybill shall be generated. But it is a special case. E-waybill shall be generated even if the value of the consignment less than 15,000. In the first case, if the e-waybill issued by the principal to job worker, and the second case, interstate transfer of handicraft goods by a person exempted from obtaining registration. That means actually if in case of interstate supply of goods, such a person is liable to be compulsory registered. Such a person is compulsory liable to be registered. But in case of interstate supply of handicraft goods, then he is not liable to be registered. Once his aggregate turnover exceed the specified limit, only he is required to be registered. Understand? He is not compulsorily registered. In case of interstate transfer of handicraft goods, he is not compulsorily registered, but he is registered once his turnover exceed the specified limits. In such case, the interstate supply of handicraft goods by a person exempted from obtaining registration is not liable to be obtained registration, but he is transfer stock of handicraft goods from one state to another state. In such a case, even though he is not liable for obtaining registration, he has to generate a e-waybill. That we are going to discuss. Interstate transfer of handicraft goods by a person exempted from obtaining registration, where handicraft goods are transported from one state to another state or union territory by a person who has been exempted from the requirement of obtaining registration. E-waybill shall be generated by said person irrespective of the value of consignment. That means if the value of consignment is less than 50,000 also, that goods are transferred by the person supplying of handicraft goods exempted from obtaining registration, then his e-waybill is generated. In two cases, if the value of goods is less than 50,000 also, e-waybill generated. First one by the principal to job worker in case of interstate supply of handicrafted goods by a person exempted from obtaining registration. In these two cases, if the value of goods less than 50,000 also, e-waybill shall be required to be generated. Understand? Okay, next. Then information to be furnished in e-waybill. What are the information is there in e-waybill? E-waybill has two parts, part A and part B. In part A, all the details of recipient goods and supplier details only have entered. What is that one? In part A, what is the GST number of the supplier, what is the address of the supplier, what is the place of dispatch, what is the description of the goods, what is the rate of tax, and what is the reference number of invoice, what is the reference number of bill of supply, what is the reference number of delivery challan, what is the GST number of the recipient, to whom the goods are sold, what is the place of dispatch. All these details have to enter in part A. Understand? Again I am repeating you. What is part A? The supplier recipient goods description has to mention part A. Who is the supplier? What is his GST number? What is the address of the GST number of the supplier? Who is the recipient? What is his address? What is the GST number of the recipient? What is the description of goods? What is the rate of goods? What is the total taxable value of goods? What is the amount of tax charged? What is the HSN code? The reference number of tax invoice, the reference number in case of it is supported by tax invoice, what is the reference number of tax invoice? In case if it is supported by the bill of supply, what is the bill of supply number? What is the delivery challan number? All these details we have entered in part A only. Understand? Part A means all the details of goods, buyer and supplier. Then part B. First I can read part A for your understanding. Part A comprising the details of GST and supplier, recipient, place of dispatch, delivery, indicating pin code also. Document means tax invoice, bill of supply, delivery challan or bill of entry or number date or value of goods or HSN codes and the reasons for the transporter to be furnished by the registered person who is causing the movement of the causing of movement of goods by the either by the supplier or by the recipient as the case may be, for the consignment value exceeding 50,000. If the value of consignment exceeding 50,000 only, you can generate a e-way bill. Okay, next. Okay, in part A we are going to details. We are going to give the details of supplier, recipient, and description of goods. Then second one, part B. Part B means only transport details, because I am sending the goods. Suppose X is sending the goods to Mr. Y. How is sending the goods? Through transport only. So part B contains the transport details. First I can read and I can discuss deeply, clearly. Transported part B, transport details. Transported document number, that is goods receipt number or railway receipt number or airway bill number or bill of lading number, and the vehicle number in case of transport by road, to be furnished by the person who is transporting the goods. That means when who is furnishing the details are to be furnished by the transporter. He has to mention transport document number. What is transport document? Maybe goods receipt number. In case the goods is transported through rails, train, railway receipt number. In case of the goods is transported through flight, airway bill number. In case the goods is transported through vessel, bill of lading number. In case the goods is transported through road, the vehicle number you have to mention. Who is mentioned? The person who is transporting the goods. That means in part B, transporter details has to be mentioned. What details has to be mentioned? Goods receipt number, railway receipt number, airway bill number, bill of lading number, vehicle number in case the transport is by road. These details are to be furnished by the person who is transporting the goods. Then, however, second one, however, in the information of part A may be furnished. Sometimes the information part B shall also be furnished by the transporter on an authorization received from the consignor. That means the part A has to be actually filled by the supplier or recipient. Sometimes it shall be furnished by the transporter on the authorization received from the consignor. In such a case, transporter can also fill form 1. I can read. However, the information in part A may be furnished by the transporter on an authorization received from such a registered person or by the e-commerce operator or courier agency where the goods are transported or supplied through such e-commerce operator or courier agency or an authorization received from consignor. That means by the transporter he can fill an authorization received from the registered person, or in case of courier transported through courier or agency or e-commerce, such details are to be mentioned by e-commerce operator or the courier company on authorization received from the consignor. Understand? Next, third one. Who is mandatorily required to generate e-way bill? Who is generating bill? Either by the consignor can generate e-way bill or by consignee can generate e-way bill. The same thing. Where the goods are transported by a registered person, whether as a consignor or recipient as a consignor. If you are sending the goods, such person can generate e-way bill. If you are receiving the goods, then you are also generate e-way bill. Then I can read. Whether the goods are transported by a registered person, whether as a consignor or recipient as a consignee, whether in his own conveyance or hired by one or a public conveyance or by road, the said person shall have to generate e-way bill by furnishing the information part B on the common portal. He has to inform these details. Where the e-way bill is not generated by the registered person, the goods are handed out to the transporter for transportation by road. The registered person shall furnish the information relating to the transporter in part B of the common portal, and the e-way bill shall be generated by the transporter on the said portal on the basis of information furnished by the registered person. In cases the registered person is not generating e-way bill, he has given all the detail to the transporter. He has not generated the e-way-bill, but he has given all the information to the transporter for who is transporting the good. In such a case, the transporter shall fill up all the details in part A and part B. He does not have an idea, that's why he has given all the details to the transporter. Then the transporter shall fill up all the details in part A and part B. Then, where the goods are transported by railways, by air or by vessel, in such a case, in any goods are transported by rail, by air, by vessel, the e-way bill is not generated by railway department. The e-way bill shall be generated by the supplier or recipient who is causing the movement of goods. Who caused the movement of goods shall generate the e-way bill only. Then railway department shall take the goods for dispatch. But at the time of delivery, on production of e-way bill only, the goods will be delivered by the railway department. Understand? The e-way bill shall be generated by any person. But at the time of delivery, railway department is required for delivery of goods, they have to produce e-way bill. And in case of railway, what documents they have to, because they are sending through railways, they are not generating e-way bill till at the time of delivery they are generating e-way bill, but railways are delivering such goods. On what document they have to generate? The document may be invoice number, the document may be bill of supply, the document may be DC. On that basis, railway department is supplying the goods from one place to another place, but delivery shall be made only on the production of e-way bill. I can read what? The e-way bill shall be generated by the registered person being the supplier or the recipient, who shall either before or after the commencement of movement furnish the information in part B: transport document number, gross receipt number, railway receipt number, airway bill number or bill of lading number on the common portal. Okay. This is all we have discussed. Where the goods are transported by railways, there is no requirement to carry e-way bill along with the records. E-way bill is not required along with the goods, but railways has to carry invoice, delivery challan, bill of supply as the case may be along with the goods. We have already discussed it. Further, e-way bill generated for the movement is required to be produced at the time of delivery. At the time of delivery, the e-way bill shall be produced. Railway shall not deliver the goods unless e-way bill required for rules. E-way bill required under the rules is produced at the time of delivery. That means the railway department cannot deliver the goods unless he produces the e-way bill. Then, the registered person or the transporter may at his option generate an small interruption where we have studied other important points. There is no requirement that also we have discussed. When it is not mandatory to furnish the details of the conveyance in part B. E-way bill is two parts, part A and part B. But sometimes part B details are not required. What is that one? We are going to discuss. E-way bill is valid for movement of goods by road only when the information part B is furnished. Without the information furnished in part B, the vehicle shall not be moved. However, the details of conveyance may not be furnished in part B of the e-way bill where the goods are transported for a distance of up to 50 km within the same state from the place of business of the consignor to a place of business to the transport for further transportation, from the place of business of the transporter finally to the place of business of the consignor. That means part B details shall be required to be furnished if the goods are moved. But there is some exception. What is the exception? If the distance is within 50 kilometers and also within the same state. If the goods are moved within the same states and the distance is less than 50 kilometers from the place of business of the supplier to the place of business of the transporter for further transportation. Suppose I am transferring goods from Hyderabad to Chennai. in the meanwhile I have to transport such goods to transporter place, and the transporter is taking small vehicle to load all these goods to big vehicle. For that it is only 10 kilometers. In such a vehicle, this small vehicle is not required to issue e-way bill. This is less than 50 kilometers, this is within 50 kilometers, and this is within the same state. And second, from the place of business of the transporter finally to the place of concern. Suppose today I am sending goods from MG road to RP road, the distance is only 50 kilometers. In such a case, the e-way bill is not required. If the goods are transported within the same state, from a consignor to the transporter for further transportation, and from the place of consignor, from the place of transporter to the final consignee. In such a case, e-way bill details in part B, e-way bill details are not required. Understand? Next, unique e-way bill number. Upon generation of e-way bill on the common portal, a unique e-way bill number shall be made available to the supplier, recipient, transport on the common portal. Once I have generated e-way bill as a registered person, either as a consignor or consignee, the details are shall made available to the supplier, recipient, and transporter. It is a unique. From consignment to consignment, it is different. Unique e-way bill is generated. Once the registered person is generating e-way bill, that shall be made available to all persons. That may be made available to supplier, it is available to the recipient, it is also available to the transporter. Then transfer of goods from one conveyance to another conveyance. Suppose if a registered person, if the supplier is sending goods from Bombay to Karnataka, once he is sending goods from Bombay to Karnataka, one vehicle is not enough. From Bombay to Hyderabad, one vehicle. From Bombay to Hyderabad, one vehicle. From Hyderabad to Karnataka, another vehicle. That means first the vehicle is loaded up to Hyderabad, from Bombay to Hyderabad. Then in Hyderabad, the vehicle reloaded in Hyderabad. Then second vehicle is taking the transport of goods to the destination. Understand? That means the goods has been transported in one vehicle. First transported vehicle to up to some distance. Then all these goods are reloaded into another vehicle for further transportation. I can read. Where the goods are transported from one conveyance to another the consignor or recipient who has provided information in part A or the transporter shall, before such transfer and further movement of goods, update the details of the conveyance in part B of the e-way bill and the convert. That means I am further transporting such goods by another vehicle, not the same vehicle. For one vehicle from Bombay to Hyderabad, in another vehicle Hyderabad to Chennai. In such a case, the transporter or registered person shall update the details of conveyance in part B of EW01 on the common portal. Second vehicle details also you have to mention in in part B of EW01 on the common portal. Then once the transporter shall assign the records in common portal, the consignor recipient shall not endorse again. That means the transporter has update all the details of conveyance in part B on EW1 on the common portal. The consignor recipient shall not allow to assign the e-way bill to another person. He is already transporter is given the details. Then the recipient or supplier shall not assign one more e-way bill to some other person. I can read for better understanding. The consignor or recipient who has furnished the information in part B or the transporter may assign the e-way bill number to another registered or enrolled transporter for updating the information in part B for further movement of consignment. However, once the details of the conveyance have been updated by the transporter, the consignment who is selling the goods or recipient who is receiving the goods, as the case may be, who has furnished the information in 40B, that means the consignor recipient all furnished details in 40B, 40A only, shall not be allowed to assign the e-way bill number to another transporter. That means once the assignment endorsement made by the consignor for transporter to another transporter for further transporter, this consignee shall not allow to assign the e-way bill to another person, another transporter. Okay. Yes. Consolidated e-waybill. Consolidated e-waybill I can explain. Today I am in Hyderabad. I am sending my goods through Navata Transport. The value of goods is 20,000. So I am not required to e-waybill. And one more person is there. Mr. X is there. He is also transporting the goods from Navata Transport, but the value of goods only 40,000. Though he is not required to e-waybill. And third Judd is the person. He is also sending the goods from Navata Transport for a value not exceeding 50,000. In all these cases, individual consignment value not exceeding 50,000. But in Navata Transporter, the value of all goods exceeds 50,000. In such a case, he has to issue consolidated e-waybill. Understand? Individual multiple consignment, the value of consignment is less than 50,000, but the total consignment value by the transport exceeds 50,000. In such a case, he has to issue consolidated e-waybill. Understand? And the second case, Mr. X is sending the goods from Hyderabad to Bombay. So his value of consignment exceed 50,000. Then he is issuing e-waybill. Mr. Y, he is also issuing e-waybill for the value exceeding 50,000. Mr. Z, his value of goods exceed 50,000. He is also issuing e-waybill. But how many e-waybils he has to carry? Instead of carrying multiple e-waybills, the Navata Transporter has to generate a consolidated e-waybill. In that he has to mention all these e-waybill details in that consolidated e-waybill. What is the form? That form number is EWB02. That means on the common portal, the transporter has to generate a consolidated e-waybill prior to the movement of goods. Before commencement of goods, he has to issue a consolidated e-waybill. One e-waybill is enough for all the consignments. I can read. After e-waybill has been generated, where multiple consignments are intended to be transported in one conveyance, the transporter may indicate the serial number of e-waybill generated in respect of each consignment electronically on the common portal, and a consolidated e-waybill in form GST EWB02 may be generated by him on the said common portal prior to the movement of goods. Before commencement of goods, the e-waybill shall be generated. The form number is GST EWB02. Consolidated e-waybill is a document containing the multiple e-waybills for multiple consignment being carried out in one conveyance. That is, the transporter carrying multiple consignment for various consignors and consignees in a single vehicle can generate and can carry a single document called consolidated e-waybill instead of carrying separate document for each consignment in a conveyance. Understand? Next, second case. Further, where the consignor has not generated e-waybill in the form GST EW01 and the aggregate value of the consignment carried in the conveyance is more than 50,000. That means value of consignment in the goods it is more than 50,000. For individual consignment it is less than 50,000. The transporter, except in case of transportation of goods by railways, air or vessel, shall in respect of interstate supply generate e-waybill in form GST EW01 on the basis of invoice or bill of supply or delivery challan as the case may be, and also generate a consolidated e-waybill in GST EWB02. That means previously we had discussed if the value exceeding 50,000 also he has to issue e-waybill because if multiple consignment. Here if the value is less than 50,000, the consignor is not issuing e-waybill. In such cases also the transporter can issue e-waybill, but these provisions are not yet effective. Less than 50,000 provision is not yet effective. However, where the goods are to be transported or supplied through e-commerce operator or a courier agency, the information part A of form GST EWB may be furnished by such e-commerce operator or a courier agency. If any goods are supplied through e-commerce operator, the information may be published by the supplier or by the e-commerce operator, as the case may be. Okay. Next. Information submitted for e-waybill can be used for filing returns. That means when you are filing GST return, what are the details you have mentioned in e-waybill, the same details you have to mention in GSTR1. You are the supplier. You are supplying goods through a transporter. So you are issuing e-way bill. You have filled in part A of the e-way bill. So all these details you have to furnish while filing GSTR 1. I can read. The information furnished in Part A of the e-way bill shall be made available to the registered supplier on the common portal, who may utilize the same for furnishing the details in GSTR 1. However, when the information has been furnished by an unregistered supplier or unregistered recipient, he shall be informed electronically if the mobile number or the email number is available. If he is unregistered, he can communicate the same through mobile number or email ID. Okay, next. Cancellation of e-way bill. That means once I generated a e-way bill, the goods are transported as per the e-way bill. Once I generated e-way bill, my goods are not generated. Once I generated e-way bill, my goods are not transported. First thing, my goods are transported, but not as per the e-way bill, not as per the details mentioned in e-way bill. Then such e-way bill shall be cancelled within 24 hours of generation of e-way bill. I can repeat again. I had generated e-way bill, but goods are not transported. But again, goods are transported not as per the detail mentioned in the e-way bill. In such a case, I can cancel the e-way bill. However, an e-way bill cannot be cancelled if it is verified in transit in accordance with the provisions of the rules. I have sent the e-way bill. I have sent the goods. It is checked by the officer. In such a case, I cannot cancel the e-way bill. If any mistake is found, I cannot cancel the e-way bill because the officer has found such defaults. I can cancel if my goods are not transported. I can cancel if the goods are transported not as per the details mentioned in e-way bill. But once the goods are transported and I have generated e-way bill, and if the goods are found by the officer, then in such a case I cannot cancel the e-way bill. Okay, next. Further, unique e-way bill number generated is valid for a period of 15 days for updation of Part B, acceptance of e-way bill. That means once I generated e-way bill, the validity period is 15 days. I generate e-way bill. Transporter enter his details in Part B. For the time limit for filling up the details in Part B is 15 days. Understand? Next, acceptance of e-way bill. As a supplier, I generate e-way bill. Then I have mentioned the recipient details also. The recipient has to accept or reject such e-way bill. If I am the recipient, I generate the e-way bill. That means the supplier has to accept my e-way bill or supplier has to reject my e-way bill. If supplier is generate e-way bill, recipient or accept or reject the e-way bill. If recipient is generate e-way bill, the supplier has to accept or reject the e-way bill. If he is not accepting, he can reject. If he is not taking any action, suppose if I am the supplier, I generate the e-way bill, but the recipient is not taking any action, in such a case, it is deemed to be accepted. Once, if the supplier or recipient does not take any action, within 72 hours of the e-way bill available to him on the common portal, at the time of delivery, whichever is earlier. Suppose today I am generating e-way bill, tomorrow I am sending the goods, so he has to reject tomorrow itself. Otherwise, if I generate e-way bill, then I can transfer the goods by after 3 days. Then such recipient or supplier has to reject or accept the e-way bill within 72 hours of the e-way bill made available to him on the common portal. If it does not take any action, it is deemed to be accepted by the supplier or recipient. I can read for your better understanding. The details of e-way bill generated shall be made available to the supplier if registered, where the information party has been furnished by the recipient. Recipient if registered, when the information party has been furnished by the supplier or recipient on the common portal, and the supplier recipient, as the case may be, shall communicate his acceptance or rejection of the consignment covered by e-way bill. So he has to accept or reject on the common portal itself. In case the person to whom the information part A is made available does not communicate his acceptance or rejection within time, it shall be deemed to be he has accepted the such details. The time limit for specified for this purpose is 72 hours of the details being made available to him on common portal or the time of delivery of goods, whichever is earlier. That means if supplier is generating e-way bill, recipient has accept or reject. If the recipient has generated e-way bill, the supplier has to accept or reject e-way bill. Such acceptance or rejection shall be made within 72 hours of the e-way bill made available on the common portal or the time of delivery of goods, whichever is earlier. Understand? Okay. Go to the next concept. E-way bill generated in one state is valid for another state. If Telangana government has generated an e-way bill, if any e-way bill is generated in Telangana state, it shall be valid throughout all the state. It may be Bombay, it may be Delhi, it may be Karnataka, it may be Chennai, it may be Goa. All the state the e-way bill shall be acted. One e-way bill generated by any person who is located in one state, it shall be accepted in every state. Then I can say the e-way bill generated under this rule under rule 138 of the goods and service tax rules of any state or union territory shall be valid in every state or union territory. Okay, next. Documents and devices to be carried out by person in charge of concern. Who is in charge of conveyance? In case of lorry, in case of truck, the in charge of conveyance is driver. Then such driver has to carry the invoice, bill of supply, delivery challan. Any case, this is the case. Or a copy of the e-way bill in physical form or e-way bill form, e-way bill number in the electronic form mapped to a RFID. RFID means radio frequency identification device used for identification where is the vehicle. The RFID device is used for identification where is the vehicle. That for that purpose only RFID this is used. RFID is embedded to the conveyance. Suppose if the lorry RFID is embedded to the conveyance, it is attached to the conveyance for the purpose of identification of vehicle. I can read a copy of the e-way bill in physical form or the e-way bill number in electronic form are mapped to a RFID embedded to the conveyance except in case of movement of goods by railway, by air, by vessel. That means in case of lorry, it is embedded to the lorry in such manner as may be notified by the commissioner only. Understand? Okay. Next. Document in view of e-way bill. Actually, e-way bill shall be carried out by a person in charge of the conveyance. In some cases, the commissioner or commissioner authorized by him to carry the following documents instead of e-way bill. Instead of e-way bill, he can carry tax invoice, bill of supply, bill of entry, where the goods are transported for reasons other than by way of supply and for repair purpose, for the exhibition purpose. Then e-way bill is not required. I can read. Where circumstances so warrant, the commissioner by notification require the person in charge of the conveyance carry out the following document instead of e-way bill: the tax invoice or bill of supply or bill of entry or a delivery challan where the goods are transported for reasons other than by way of supply. Okay, only two more concepts. Verification of documents and conveyance. Any commissioner, any officer empowered by the commissioner. Actually, commissioner is authorized, but commissioner is not going anywhere every time. Then in such a case, he is empowered such officer. Such officer authorizes any proper officer to verify such documents and e-way bills. That is the thing. I can read. The commissioner and an officer empowered by him in this behalf may authorize the proper officer to intercept any conveyance to verify an e-way bill in physical or electronic form for all interstate intrastate movement of goods. In case of interstate sales, in case of intrastate movement of goods, the commissioner or an officer empowered by him may authorize the proper officer. He can verify such documents. The commissioner shall get the RFID readers installed at places where the verification of movement of goods is required to be carried out, and the verification of movement of vehicles shall be done through such vehicle readers where the e-way bill has been mapped with the device. Where the e-way bill has mapped to the devices, the commissioner shall verify the RFID readers. The physical verification of conveyance shall be carried out by the proper officer as authorized by the commissioner or any officer employed by him. Who is authorizing to verify vehicle? The physical verification of conveyance shall be verified by the officer who is authorized by the commissioner or any person authorized by the commissioner. Then inspection and verification of goods. If the verification, physical inspection is done by any officer, then his report has to be submitted within 24 hours of the inspection. This is a preliminary report, and the final report has to be submitted within 72 hours. That is within 72 hours. That is 3 days. Within 3 hours, within 3 days of the such inspection. If any, that means any officer physically verified the documents. Such inspection report has to be furnished on the common portal within 24 hours of verification. And final report of such report has to be uploaded on the common portal within 3 days of inspection. Suppose if the vehicle has been detained for more than 30 minutes by the officer, understand, if the vehicle has been intercepted and detained by the officer for more than 30 minutes, the transporter also may upload the details in the common portal. In case of inspector inspect the vehicle, he has to furnish the details within 24 hours of verification, and final report he has to furnish on the common portal within 3 days of inspection. In case the vehicle has been detained for more than 30 minutes by the proper officer, then the transporter may upload this said information on the common portal. The transporter may upload the information on the common portal. Next. This is the last one. Validity of the e-way bill or consolidated e-way bill. Suppose it's a small consignment, small vehicle. The vehicle for 100 kilometers, the vehicle can go for 1 day. For 100 kilometers, the vehicle shall go within 1 day. If additional 100 kilometers, the department is given 1 more day. First, suppose from Bombay to Pune 100 kilometers, the vehicle should go at least 1 day. It shall not go 2 days, 3 days. The vehicle should go only 1 day. If it is a very big cargo, the kilometers are different. First I can read and explain. Validity period of e-way bill or consolidated e-way bill. Serial number, distance within validity period. Up to 100 kilometers, 1 day in cases other than over dimensional cargo. If the vehicle distance, if the distance is 100 kilometers, the vehicle shall go within 1 day. For every 100 kilometers are part thereof. For additional 100 kilometers, 1 additional day in cases other than over dimensional cargo, that is small cargo. If it is a small cargo, the small cargo has to go 100 kilometers in 1 day. If it is another 100 kilometers are part thereof, another 1 day they have given for dimensional cargo. Then second, up to 20 kilometers, 1 day in case of over dimensional cargo. Over dimensional cargo, very big cargo. They have given the vehicle should go 20 kilometers in 1 day. For a very big cargo, the vehicle should run at least 20 kilometers in 1 day. In 1 day, the 20 kilometers shall completed. For every 20 kilometers are part thereof, 1 additional day in case of over dimensional cargo. In case of over dimensional cargo, the kilometers is 30, the vehicle should go at least in 2 days. In case of 40 kilometers also, the vehicle shall go only in 2 days. Because up to 20 kilometers, 1 day. In case of additional 200 kilometers are part thereof, 1 additional day in case of over dimensional cargo. In case of small cargo, the vehicle should go 100 kilometers in 1 day. In case of 100 kilometers, more than 100 kilometers, the small cargo shall go at least 2 days. That means additional 1 day given for every 100 kilometers are part thereof. In case of 150 kilometers, 100 kilometers for 1 day, 50 kilometers also for another day. That means in 2 days the vehicle should reach 150 kilometers. In case of over dimensional cargo, that is big cargo, the vehicle should complete 20 kilometers in 1 day. In case of 30 kilometers, that means 20 kilometers or additional 20 kilometers. In such a case, 1 additional day shall be given in case of over dimensional cargo. That means 20 kilometers for 1 day. For additional 20 kilometers are part thereof, additional 1 more day they are given in case of over dimensional cargo. That means in case of 30 kilometers, that is in the over dimensional cargo, the vehicle should reach at least in 2 days the 30 kilometers. Understand? I think you understand better. I think you enjoyed the chapter. There ends the chapter. Thank you very much.